look at that chicken. That's some nice chicken.
Greetings, people who are not yet watching, but future generation and people on YouTube if we actually post this. Following a recipe from Bon Appetit. So I'm going to be making tonight a recipe that's called Chicken Piccata. It's an Italian dish that is made with chicken that's cooked in a pan on the stove top with you make like a buttery sauce that the chicken's kind of simmers in. So we're going to take some chicken breasts, dredge them, salt them up, dredge them in some flour, cook them on a hot pan, get them brown on both sides, and then make a sauce. It's got olive oil, the white wine, and capers, and butter, and garlic as well. So capers, butter, garlic, white wine, olive oil, and lemon juice. It's very important as well. So we're going to make the chicken piccata. I'm going to make a little side dish of some spaghetti. There's a little bit of leftover sauce that's going to be left at the end of the recipe in the pan that you make the chicken in. When you remove the chicken, there's a nice buttery, lemony, like zesty sauce that's left behind. And I know a lot of people I've seen online like to make some spaghetti and just kind of like cook it up in the sauce at the end. I've never actually done that. I made this chicken piccata recipe a bunch, but I've never actually made it with pasta. I usually try to go low carbs, but tonight we're going full carb. It's been a stressful couple months, so we're going to feast on some carbs tonight. Hey Angela, what's up? So also I'm going to make a side dish of some broccoli. I've already got the broccoli kind of prepared. Just a head of broccoli cut down in the florets, just some olive oil, salt and pepper, and that is it. So let's get going with the chicken breasts and get those prepared. So like I said, this recipe revolves around some nice chicken breasts. These are actually have been cut into cutlets. So to make a cutlet, you just take a chicken breast, you slice it down the middle, and you cut it in half down the middle, like lengthwise, like a thin slice. You can get them prepared at the supermarket in cutlets already, but I like to make them myself. You save a little bit of money that way. But it's kind of a bit of like some knife trickery to try to get the chicken breast cut into cutlets. So if you don't feel like you're good enough with the knife, then feel free to just buy them already cut into cutlets. It's a lot easier that way. Half the time I destroy my chicken breasts when I try to make cutlets, and it's kind of the worst. So pizza. Sup, I'm gonna eat Heights pizza because full carbs. Yes, I hear that. Feasting on the carbs these days. Okay, so that's it. So I'm gonna cheat. I've made this thing a million times, but I always refer back to the recipes. I'm gonna tweak things a little bit for this recipe. So this one calls for 2 chicken breasts that are cut into cutlets, so you end up having 4 cutlets. And then you make the sauce with a third of a cup of white wine, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna double all of the liquid stuff because I'm gonna cook the pasta and the remaining sauce at the end. So I want to double the stuff that makes the sauce. That way I have enough extra to make actually put the pasta in. Oh, also I'm using this fancy weird turmeric pasta that Shirley bought. She says it's good. I've never had it. I don't know if it's gonna work with the piccata, but I'm gonna do it anyway because it's all we have. And I'm trying to avoid supermarkets as much as possible. I should show you guys my freezer. We stocked up on a bunch of frozen meat, so we would have to go to the store once a month. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to take your chicken breasts and give them a little bit of salt, and then dredge them in some flour. So I got a bowl with a little bit of flour in it. This is my oven. It's ready for the broccoli. I'll add that in a minute. So chicken breasts, some salt. I like to use kosher salt. It's a lot easier to control. And you just want to lightly salt the chicken breasts because this sauce is going to be made with capers. And I meant to explain this. Capers are these sweet little awesome, they don't taste sweet, but they're these awesome little pickled things. I looked them up to see what the heck they were one time because I was curious. They're actually flower bulbs. If you look really closely, you can kind of see they're little unbloomed bulbs of a flower that comes off of this bush. I think it grows in the Mediterranean. They're really popular in Italian and just European Mediterranean cuisine. They're hella good. They're really salty and it's it's just like a almost like an olive, but with even more concentrated brine and salt and flavor. So if you ever cook with capers, you want to go really easy on them, and they're super salty. So don't salt your chicken too much, otherwise your dish is going to come out like way too salty. So you got to be careful with that. Anyway, chicken breast, just kind of sprinkle a little bit of salt on each one. Drop that in the flour. Knock off any excess flour. And then you want to set these on a plate and let them, before you cook them, let them sit for a couple of minutes. It lets the flour get nice and hydrated, so it'll make a better browning. They'll make for a better crust later on. I'm going to put these to the side next to a plate. And actually, while I'm doing the dredging, I'm going to get my skillet heated up. So I'm working with my favorite cast iron skillet here. There's all kinds of flavor baked into this thing. Anytime I cook meat, or just about anything that will work in a cast iron, I use this. It just, I don't know, it controls heat really well and just cooks amazingly, and it's really easy to clean. So I love my cast iron. So I'm gonna go and get this heated on medium high. Get my oil nice and hot. There's a little bit of oil in there. Just get your pan nice and coated. And I think my skillet's going to be big enough to cook all 4 at the same time, but if you have a smaller skillet or you want to cook a lot more of this ahead of time, be careful not to overcrowd your pan. Just do your cooking your chicken in batches. Otherwise, it just won't cook evenly and it won't be as good. But yeah, okay. Back to dredging and salting. It's a little bit of salt on both sides. Flour. Got our chicken pieces dredged in some flour now. Skillet's heating up. It's actually nice and hot. I see it's smoking just a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and start cooking the chicken. And I'm just going to remember to keep an eye on that. Get our chicken over here. And I didn't have time to prepare this stuff ahead of time, but we're supposed to mince up this capers first. You can add just the whole capers if you want, but they're kind of large, and it's better if you give them a little bit of chopping action before you throw them in the pan. So we want about a tablespoon of drained capers, coarsely chopped. I'm gonna grab a hefty tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons. I love capers. I love anything salty and briny and pickled. So you know what? I'm just gonna go for that double dip in the capers. Think about cooking, folks. You can do whatever the heck you want. If you find a recipe you love, don't be afraid to tweak it. If that recipe says 4 cloves of garlic, you're a garlic fiend, double it, triple it, quadruple it. Garlic's good for your immune system, supposedly, so what better time now than to indulge in your absurd love for garlic. You just want to give the capers a light chopping, nothing crazy. They don't have to be minced to absolute destruction. Just break them up a little bit. They'll disperse better in the sauce. Ow, my chicken's biting me. It's spewing oil everywhere. I think a little too hot. I'm gonna grab a clean plate to put those on. That looks good for the capers. Let's get these bad boys flipped. I think they're looking like they're about done on one side. You don't have to cook them all the way through at this stage. Yeah, that's perfect. Just a little bit of browning on the edges. You don't want to cook them all the way through at this stage because we're going to put them back in the pan and simmer everything together in the end. And so you'll overcook the chicken if you cook them too much at this stage. Now we want a few cloves of garlic. I'm going to go for like 6 cloves. I think the recipe said 4. I'm a garlic fan, like I said. So you just want to, however many you want though, but garlic definitely lends a great aromatic flavor to this dish. And you don't have to chop them or anything. This recipe's so easy. You don't have to chop it or mince it. You just want to give them a good smash to release all the flavor from the garlic. And then when you make the sauce, you're going to add the whole cloves and just simmer them in the oil and the sauce and kind of extract that flavor. But you don't have to chop them or mince them. You actually don't want to because you'll burn it if you do that. Because the sauce is going to be made at pretty high heat. Alright, I think these cutlets are done. Yeah, looks good. Need a little bit more oil. Oh, I hate that. I just see that. Miss you guys too. Appreciate that. We really do miss Tampa a lot. Moved here because the career opportunity that I had with this company was just too good to pass up. But we definitely see it as a temporary location for us. We haven't been the biggest fans of Miami. It's cool here. It's a cool city, but it's overwhelming in a lot of ways, and people can be overwhelming a little bit here. But it's it's got its upsides. But we're definitely longing to live elsewhere one day. Maybe back to Tampa, but who knows? We got our eye on some other places too. What's your number one place you want to move to, babe? Or would consider? What's one of the top?
I like Melbourne.
You like Melbourne?
Yeah.
Melbourne,
Or
Florida.
Tampa. Either or.
Back to Tampa?
Take me back.
Yeah, just go back to Tampa. Yeah, we'd love to go back to Tampa. Maybe one day. Peeling my garlic cloves. Oh, I didn't walk you through the smashing process that I'm doing. So the way I extract the garlic from this ridiculous wrapper that they come naturally packaged in, so I just give it a whack with a flat side of my knife, and then the paper part just peels off so easily. So if you've never done that before, ooh, chicken's getting hot. If you always have trouble peeling your garlic, just do this. Just lay your garlic flat on the cutting board, get your knife, and get it nice and flat on top of it, and just whack it really hard until it smashes, and then the paper just comes right off. It's this wonderful trick that I found from chefs online. All right, I think our chicken's done, or at least stage one of the chicken is done. I'm gonna go ahead and get my broccoli started. So I'm not really teaching broccoli in this one, but if you want to know, we're just making broccoli because we want to eat it for dinner tonight. I just, break it up into florets, heat my oven to 450 or a little higher, maybe 475 to get it a little more brown. Toss it in some olive oil and salt and pepper. I mean, you can add spices if you want. Rosemary, thyme, any kind of herb would be good, but I just like simple broccoli with salt, pepper, and oil. And then just spread that out, space them out on a baking sheet, keep them far apart from each other so they cook separately and they don't, so they cook quickly, that is. And yeah, oven for about 15-20 minutes until they are browned to your liking. So we get those started.
She's such a natural. It's crazy.
Aw, thanks. Set a timer for 15 minutes. Okay, so let's see, where are we at with this? We have prepared our garlic. We have prepared our capers. Now, let's see, we cooked the chicken. It's garlic time, right? Yeah, add garlic and another tablespoon of oil to the skillet. Cook, stirring often and reducing heat if needed to keep garlic from scorching. So yeah, you want to cook your garlic on a medium-high heat, but reduce the heat if your garlic starts to turn brown. You don't want it to you can get a little brown, but you don't want it to scorch. It's going to ruin the flavor. So you're going to cook your garlic for about 2 minutes and then add the wine and capers, swirling pan, and scraping up any brown bits stuck to the bottom of the skillet until liquid is almost completely evaporated, about 3 minutes. And then we're going to add a little bit of water and some butter and form an emulsion with the butter and water by mixing the pan vigorously while the butter melts to form an emulsion with water, about a minute. Okay, so this forms a nice emulsified, buttery, garlicky, salty sauce that's going to be delicious. You can top it with a little bit of Parmesan cheese if you're feeling frisky, like I am tonight. Yeah. And if you're lactose intolerant, you can still eat Parmesan cheese, I think, because I read online by the experts on the internet that Parmesan cheese has little to no lactose in it. So my dear wife, we've discovered, can't really handle the queso that well. So Parmesan cheese has been our go-to, and it hasn't hurt you yet, right?
Hasn't hurt
So
me
as far as we know. So just don't overdo it. If you're lactose intolerant, maybe try a little bit of Parmesan, see if it works. But yeah, keep your body healthy, folks. Be nice to yourself. All right. Heating our skillet back up. Gonna put a little bit more oil in the pan. I'm gonna soapbox for a second. Don't cheap out on your olive oil, okay? I love good olive oil. I used to not think it didn't matter. I used to think people that spent a little extra money on good olive oil were crazy and it just didn't make a difference. I mean, it does make a huge difference for frying things. If you're using a ton of oil, get extra virgin, but use the cheap stuff. It doesn't matter. But if you're gonna make a good sauce or a dressing or something where you're just using a little bit of the olive oil, get something nice. Get a good olive oil. It really it makes a difference. It makes it richer, cleaner tasting. It's not as overpowering, but it's also got a nice lightness. You can tell the difference once you start cooking with it. Better stuff. So this is my favorite brand, California Olive Ranch Destination Series. I learned about it from the folks at Bon Appetit Test Kitchen, a YouTube channel that I follow and have learned a lot from. This is actually recipe is from the Bon Appetit Test Kitchen. I think it was developed by Chris Morocco at the Bon Appetit Test Kitchen. So yeah, good olive oil makes a difference. Essential ingredient right here. Muy essential. So we're gonna add about a half a cup of water. A third cup here. Okay. A little more than half a cup of water because I want to make a little more sauce. And the butter is supposed to be 4 tablespoons. I think 8's too much, so I'll add 6. Well, I've got 5 right here. I'll just have 5. Chop that up a little bit so it melts faster. The breading that we put on the chicken is going to help it thicken up a little bit. It was cooked with flour, so let's add that back. Okay. Let's see. Our pasta water is still not boiling. It's gonna take it a long time. So we want this sauce to be thick enough to coat a spoon, it says. Mine's probably not gonna get quite that thick because I doubled or almost doubled the volume of the sauce. So I'm just gonna kind of wing it. But I'm assuming that when I add my pasta to it, it'll thicken it up a little bit. Maybe you can dust it with some flour if you want, but I mean, that's basically it. Serve return chicken. I'll mention it in the story. Remove from heat and stir in lemon juice in the sauce. Yeah, that's just supposed to be at the end, so it's okay. You can do it now.
Just at the end?
Yeah.
Do it now?
But I didn't tell the fans, babe.
Damn it, babe!
I didn't tell the fans.
The fans! They need to know! Stir in the lemon juice. Ooh, that is nice. Give me some of that action. Some of that. Look at that chicken. That's some nice chicken. You need to get one of those covers.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my god. What a chef.